Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Rewind Zone here on RUE Morgue TV. My name is Yasmina and I am a columnist for RUEMorgue.com. And on this series, normally I discuss 80s B horror movies, SOVs, but today is a different venture. I'm going to be discussing a movie that I'm not really sure is classified as a horror movie. It definitely goes into the bizarre, and all of us here at RUE Morgue are obviously fans of anything that is bizarre. So that movie is 1990's Shredder Orpheus. The tagline for Shredder Orpheus is a skate rock adventure of the deadly kind. Or as I like to say, of the sheer lunacy kind. Get cozy for this one.
One guy will never forget his Orpheus. Everybody liked him in the zone. He had a band called the Shredders, and we would go see him at the Thrash Bin Club. We would always find a way to rock like rabid dogs.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of background on this movie. I have been wanting to talk about Shredder Orpheus on the Rewind Zone for years, but I had to muster up enough mental energy in my body to be able to discuss this lunatic movie with you. It's just so bonkers. And if you've seen it or if you have Googled any reviews about it, that's pretty much what everybody thinks about it. For the longest time, I actually didn't think anybody had ever heard of it. I just randomly found a copy of the VHS for like $5, and I just saw the AIP label on the spine, and I watched it very high. So it was written and directed and also stars Robert McGinley, and it was shot in Seattle guerrilla style. Imagine a post-apocalyptic industrial version of Orpheus and Eurydice with skateboarders who live in shipping containers in this area called the Gray Zone, and there's an evil corporate media network that employs goth zombies that brainwashes its viewers, and a psychedelic guitar. I think I got it. Shredder Orpheus follows the main protagonist, Orpheus, who is the singer and guitarist in his band Shredder, and his girlfriend Eurydice is like the band dancer. And then there's the side characters, and because they live in the shipping containers in the Gray Zone, they're called zoners. We have Axel,
some friend you turned out to be,
who also doubles as the film's narrator at the beginning and the end. And he's got broken hips, so he sits on his skateboard. And then we have Scratch.
There was Scratch, an androgyne percussion expert who was one of the toughest health food freaks I ever knew.
That just bangs on steel drums all day. Razorius.
An edgy kid full of deviant hormones. And like Scratch, an expert shoplifter and all-purpose vandal.
Who's a thief and steals a shit ton of boxes of shredded wheat. The vernacular in this movie is wacky and batshit at best. The first time I watched this movie, I was so high, and I was like, what the fuck did he just say? Orpheus says, I've dedicated my life to the sound of screaming metal insects in walls of oatmeal. I need direction. This movie's so wacky. There is this evil, like, corporate media network, and they're called the Euthanasia Broadcast network. They have a show called Praise the Ray. It's this like hypnotic show that has this wacky cult leader type host. The network uses microwave radiation to brainwash its viewers. So when you're watching the show, your physical body like remains seated, but your astral mind gets sucked into the screen. Okay, so we find out that the creepy guy that was videotaping Eurydice dancing actually works for EBN. The producers are watching her and they're like, she's the one that we need to reach the youth. So they plan to kidnap her so they can create a show around her. Orpheus and Eurydice are getting married on a rooftop.
I hereby pronounce you husband and wife.
So Shredder's manager, Linus, aka Phlox from Enterprise, so there is your Star Trek trivia. He gifts Orpheus this like fucking weird guitar, and it's called the
Gibsonian Lear Axe guitar.
And when you play it, it emits these trippy shroom trails. That's like the best way that I can describe it. It's like you're transported into an Earth, Wind, and Fire music video. If you didn't think it was weird enough, it's gonna get weirder. Orpheus is roaming the halls of the EBN building looking for Eurydice, and he comes across this like room, and it's called the shredding room, and there's a man inside, and he's literally all white, like he looks like a corpse, and he's like, Dad? So his like dad works there, and then his like mom shows up. I don't know why, just why. Okay, so then he finds the studio where they shoot the show, and there is a show being recorded live. And the host is like singing this very creepy song with this like deranged organ sound. La, 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 People of the internet know about Turtle Dreams. Do you know about Turtle Dreams? It's like one of those like weird like 80s like avant-garde like art projects or whatever, and it's like these like four people just standing there go la, la. The next segment on the show is literally Turtle Dreams. Orpheus just keeps like wandering the building looking for Eurydice, and the producers find him and they force him to go on the show. And so he's on the stage, and now he's got this like new component, I guess, to his like weird magic shroom guitar, and it's like a wristband that has buttons on it that plays a beat, and then he just starts like playing his trippy guitar. Orpheus is unsuccessful in finding Eurydice. I guess he just like gives up. Some time has passed and the band has renamed from Shredder to Orpheus and the Shredders. They're playing a show, and wow, he's got this like new guitar. In fact, it's on the back of the VHS or Blu-ray. It's actually like the main reason why I bought this tape was this image on the back of the VHS. So Orpheus is watching TV one night and he sees Eurydice on the show dancing with the host, looking very bored. And of course the producers are watching and they're noticing the lack of vivacity, and they decide we need that guitar player back. Their plan is to lure him with this like futuristic skateboard that like just like shoots down the street with a trail of smoke behind it, and it impresses him so much that of course he has to do all these like skateboarding tricks on it as he rolls back to the building. Is that like the right term for transportation on a skateboard? You're rolling?
Autobots, roll out. We roll.
He skates back to the building. You think this movie up until this point is like fucked up, but no, it gets even more fucked up. And he gets to the building and all of a sudden it just turns into this like insane game show, like Running Man on acid. And there's these two doors and the host is like, you have to pick door number 1 or door number 2. Whatever, he chooses a door. And behind the door are these maniacs with chainsaws. And then they fucking saw his head off. And then are playing catch with his decapitated head. Eurydice grabs his like severed head and like places it like back onto his body, which frees his soul. And now they can be together for eternity. Axel decides that he needs to blow up the network signal to save the rest of mankind. And him and the rest of the gang keep Orpheus's skull. And the movie, of course, ends with more skateboarding. Yeah, Shredder Orpheus, I would definitely describe it as a Terry Gilliam remote control, like from 1988 with Kevin Dillon mixed with Donald G. Jackson's Rollerblade. Just to give you like an idea of what to expect if you decide to watch this movie. Do I recommend that you watch it? Not because it's like a good movie, but more so you could have the experience of watching this movie. You know, like your life will not be fulfilled until you've experienced Shredder Orpheus.
It reminds me of the time before the war. She was really beautiful.
So thanks again for joining me on this episode of The Rewind Zone. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth discussion on this bizarre, fucked up, lunatic movie. Did this movie make me want to go out and buy a skateboard and learn how to do tricks? No. But I loved talking about it because I just want to share the strange and unusual movies out there that should be talked about more, you know? Yeah, definitely let me know in the comments if there's any other movies you think I should cover on the show. Like, tell your friends to subscribe to RUE MORGUE TV. But don't forget, be kind, rewind, or else you're gonna get stuck in this everlasting Earth, Wind, and Fire music video for eternity. You've done shrooms. You know what this looks like. I've dedicated my life to the sound of metal insects screaming in walls of oatmeal. Like, what the fuck? Okay, yes, so